good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. And today we're going back behind my Spotify. This time around, I didn't know if I was gonna review this album. I completely forgot about it. And I did listen to it. And because I've been doing so many album reviews lately, I thought I'd do this one just because. But to talk about what we're going to be reviewing today, we're going to be reviewing Shapeshifter by Memphis Mayfire. Now, to get this started, I have only listened to 2 albums by Memphis Mayfire because I got into metal music, or metalcore music, or the metalcore scene, or whatever you want to call it, very late. I didn't start getting into this music until like 2021, I believe. The first like, I don't know if like heavy band that I listened to was like, I want to say Our Last Night or Normandy or The Word Alive. Those are the bands, or even like Therefore Tomorrow, but I wouldn't call them heavy. But like those are the bands that I got into. And just talking about Memphis, because I think they started dropping in 2021, or 2020, I can't remember. But when they made Remade in Misery, and real quick, if you guys don't mind, I am going to go over that album, because I've gone over it before when we did our album of the year, kind of going back over albums, because I did actually make this album my album of the year, because I kept going back and forth. I keep going back and forth on albums sometimes, and looking back at Remade in Misery, this is an album I really liked. And I just want to talk about it briefly before we get into Shapeshifter and talking about this album versus that album. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, Remade in Misery, I like every song on this album. I think like my favorite one is probably I want to say Make Believe. Somebody, like, my favorite songs on here are probably The Fight Within, Only Human, Misery, Make Believe, Somebody. I think those ones are my favorite, but I like every song on this album. And this album is just it's a solid like metalcore album, and it's, I don't know, there's no song on this album I don't like there, I get there's songs I prefer over others, but like there isn't a single bad song on this album. And then, like, going over to, it's weird, man. The juxtaposition, or like the difference between, this is a problem I have with like the Word Alive and Caskets albums, because the first Caskets album that they dropped, their first album, what was it? The Lost Souls, beautiful, phenomenal album. And we reviewed those albums on the channel, not those albums specifically, but their newer ones, like the one they dropped in 2023. The singles were good, and then the rest of the album was samey same. I didn't like it. And the Word Alive, they dropped Monomania. That was their first, not their first album, but it's an album that I first heard by them, and I love that album. And then the album they came out with in 2023 was garbage, because the only 8 songs I liked were the singles, and I didn't care about any of the other songs. That is just my professional opinion. Personal opinion? I don't know if professional is the right term. I'm not a professional at this at all. But with Memphis Mayfire, it's a similar situation here. I loved every song on this album for Remade in Misery. But we go to Shapeshifter. I'll be honest, I didn't like a single song on this album. The only song I liked was The Other Side, because that song specifically has such a like citizen soldier mental health vibe, and it's kind of like it's like that song is basically The Fight Within but more powerful. Every other song in here is, I don't like it. I don't like any other song on this album. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, every single I heard, because they all dropped as singles, everything I heard I just wasn't impressed by. This is the only song that really like pulled me into the album, because everything else, like, I didn't like. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's because I've heard the sound before or something, and I'm not interested in the sound at all. And you can tell like Remade in Misery did better because of the streams and plays it has. But like every song on Remade in Misery made me feel something, and I think a lot of like what I equate those albums to that came out during COVID, I want to say that is a COVID album. COVID albums are like the greatest albums that a band will ever make because they became so isolated and they had so much time to make a project. That's why it's so good. And this came out after COVID, and I don't know. I feel like this album didn't pull me in the way Remade in Misery did. And this was like the close to one of the last singles to come out, and when it came out, I thought this was the best song on the album. Like, nothing else came close. Which sucks. It really does. But the reason I wanted to review this album was because, one, it did come out this year, but also, it's not going to be on my album of the year. Again, it didn't hit right for me like Remade in Misery did. But, you know, in 2 years when they release another album, I'm hoping it's better than this. I think what I want from them next, I feel like it has to be an album that sounds like The Other Side. Maybe not every song, but like, I would like every song to hit like Remade in Misery did. I don't know. I feel like they captured something special there, and, you know, obviously don't make the same thing you made, but make a similar vibe. I don't know. But if I have to give the album a rating, I don't want to be rude about this. Because again, I didn't really like any of those. I only liked The Other Side. And that's really bad. It might just be personal preference. I don't know. I think a lot of other people probably like the album. But I do think I'm going to give it like I'm going to give it a solid 7. I don't want to be rude, but I think it's 7 because like the songs the songs are good, right? But like The Other Side is the only one I really liked. Like the songs aren't bad by any means. They're good. I don't think it's my sound right now like that I'm interested in. I think like cuz like just kind of to give you an idea of what we're currently looking at for the stuff I'm listening to. Architects, their new album. Our Last Night's new album. Sleep Token's new album. Sleep Theory's first album, and we're not going to go into that now, but and then Arms Lake, which is a new. There's a lot of new stuff in here that I haven't had in the past. I think that's a good thing. So again, that's kind of why like I'm leaning towards more songs that impact me. I think that's what I'm looking for, because if a song doesn't impact me or an album doesn't impact me, I don't think I'm going to listen to it as much, or I'm not going to have it on as an album of the year. But that's just my 2 cents. I have like there's albums I'm looking forward to this year that haven't come out yet, but I think they're going to hit pretty hard. But yeah, I thought I'd, share that with you guys because yeah, this album didn't really click with me as much as I think it should have. But The Other Side was my favorite single off of this, and it is probably their best song that they've ever made. I want to say it's up there, man. I think it tops Fight With It. Yeah, it's probably their best song they've ever made. It's such a good song. Even like the one thing I did forget to mention, and you have to go into the singles to see this. So they drop instrumentals and acapellas with every single they've dropped. They dropped instrumentals and acapellas. I thought that was really cool. I don't know. I thought that was pretty neat that they ended up doing that. Like with every single they dropped an instrumental and an acapella, and those didn't get a lot of plays, but I think it's just super cool that they did that because I think the point of it was to, give people more content, but also give people the chance to learn the song, if that makes sense. Like, if they want to play the song instrumentally, you give them the opportunity to learn it. Acapella, like, you give people to learn the vocals, but I think that was the point of dropping the instrumentals and the acapellas of those. But And yeah, the other side has instrumental and acapella too, which the acapella for other side is crazy. But what's interesting is, I believe Shapeshifter versus Love is War, those don't have. Well, Shapeshifter I think does, but Versus and Love is War do not have acapellas or instrumentals, which I don't know why they don't. But I'm assuming at some point they're gonna drop an acapella and instrumental album of Shapeshifter, but I don't know. But anywho, that's gonna be the video for today. But thank you guys for watching, hanging out. I appreciate it a ton. I will see you guys in the next video, and yeah, goodbye.